I have to admit, I'm getting slightly tired of roguelites. After playing Hyperlight Drifter, Enter the Gungeon, and that piece of horribleness that I said I never wanted to say the title of again, I feel like I've reached my limit of roguelites and I'm ready to look at a new genre for a while. So, with that said, welcome to Kill to Collect, a roguelite that... oh, bloody hell. Yes, it's another roguelite, and one that falls somewhere between not terrible and not superb. So, hey, that's something. Kill to Collect is designed primarily for group co-op play, so naturally I only explore the single-player aspect. Controlled from your standard top-down WASD viewpoint, you guide a mercenary in a vast underground city who fights through randomly generated levels to reach your target, a non-random enemy that has a bounty on their head. There's really not much in the way of story here, but it's kind of hard to envision a captivating story in a game type that revolves around you dying repeatedly, so that's not much of a criticism. The world/universe that the game lives in is, on the surface, mildly interesting, and it's spiced up a bit by some quick cutscenes in story mode, but beyond that it's a fairly generic cyberpunk universe with nothing that particularly makes it stand out. It's not a bad universe, mind you, but it's not exactly something that I wish I knew more about. While the levels are randomly generated, they don't necessarily feel that way, and it's apparent that the developers put a reasonable amount of time and effort into the randomness generator to keep you from ending up with levels where the exit is just one room away from the entrance, or where the layout is so far off the wall that it feels wrong. Each room you enter is immediately sealed, and you are then pitted against a few waves of enemies that range from trash can electrified robots, to grenade-throwing ninjas, to grunts wielding axes so long, you'd think they were compensating for something totally G-rated. The graphics look decent, but are also somewhat muddy, as though the game comes from a few years ago and was ported to modern machines. It's not bad to look at, especially when you get several explosions and dozens of projectiles all flying around the screen at once, but compared to something like Hyperlight Drifter or even Enter the Gungeon, the look and feel of Kill to Collect is dull. The enemy types don't vary all that much across the 4 different world types in the game, though the difficulty does ramp up by a couple orders of magnitude between the 3rd and 4th world. For the most part though, enemies are fairly easy to dodge and telegraph their attacks far enough in advance that even the bosses you face to complete your bounties aren't that challenging. With 4 people playing and the number of enemies increased, I can see how things would get hectic very quickly, so playing in single player isn't the best demonstration of what the game really has to offer in the way of enemy and boss battles. One consequence of having played a few different rogue-like/lights recently is getting a feel for how fast and slow they feel. And Kill to Collect feels incredibly slow. Enter the Gungeon was the fastest by far, with very twitchy and reactionary gameplay all the way through. Hyperlight Drifter falls somewhere in the middle with alternating fast and slow action depending on where you are and what you're doing. Kill to Collect though, wow. It's slow from start to finish, both on the player side and on the enemy side. Attacks are sluggish, movement speed feels as though you're walking across a floor covered in glue, and once you learn how enemies attack, you can pretty easily dodge whatever they throw at you, as long as you don't get blocked into a corner. On the one hand, it's nice to have a change of pace from the lightning-fast reactionary gameplay of other games, but on the other hand, Kill to Collect feels like it's too slow. Speeding things up by about 20 to 30% would make the game feel right. The music is nothing to write home about, but it's also not terrible, adding another aspect to the game that falls right in the middle of the meh target. The sound design is nice, and the effects don't get tiring to listen to, but again, nothing really stands out here as being epic, over-the-top, or memorable. That, to me, is Kill to Collect's main problem. There's nothing really memorable about the game, unless you and 3 friends have nothing else to do and want to spend time slowly jogging around slashing things to death. If you want to do that, more power to you, but if that's the main thing this game has going for it, that's not a lot to write on if you're a solo player, as I generally am. There are plenty of other roguelites or hack and slash games that have better, well, everything from setting and graphics to gameplay and sound design. If you and your friends absolutely love roguelikes over anything else, Kill to Collect might be worth a shot. At $20 though, you better be huge fans of this type of game because anyone else won't be getting their money's worth. I'm Mike and this is Game Night with Mike. Thanks for watching and I'll be back again soon.